What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking consoles, and we're not going to be breaking down the specs and diving into every aspect of the console and spending an hour doing it, where you guys will relearn the same stuff you've already been taught and told about every spec and every aspect of it, and breaking it down on the paper side, saying which console is going to be better than the other. I want to go ahead and just break this down into what I'm thinking so far, because up until today, it's been very 50-50 for me. Which console am I going to get? And recently, the biggest thing is release date that just came out. So we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about just, a general overview of the consoles and what I'm thinking I'm going to get. Not just what's the best specs and what console is going to technically be better than the other if they're playing the same game and things like that. So let's dive into that. But before we do, we have XCOM in the background here. We're not going to be talking about XCOM. It is there for you. It's a pretty cool game. I just wanted to show you it because it's footage I have saved on my hard drive, and the game was pretty fun to play. So it's there. Like I said, we're not going to be talking about it, but you can, have a little eye candy while we go ahead and talk about the consoles. So the first thing I want to talk about with consoles, guys, is there are two, right? I'm going to start with the basics. If you don't know, there are two consoles right now that everyone's been debating which one they're going to get. The two powerhouses. We have the Xbox One and the PS4. Now that we have that out of the way, we can go ahead and jump into the first thing. And the most recent news is the release dates. The release date for the Xbox One just got announced. It's going to be on November 22nd. Now, if you do know this already, the PS4 is going to be on November 15th. So that could be a big thing for Xbox users or PS4 people. Whatever you were going to get, this may be the deal breaker. If you were 50-50, a week early could really just be that deal breaker that says, all right, well, I was 50-50 and everything sounded pretty equal to me, but now I'm just going to go with the PS4 because it's going to be on the shelf earlier. Now, with that said, even though it's coming out a week earlier, doesn't mean you're going to be able to get it a week earlier. And here's what I mean by that. A lot of these consoles have already been claimed, so they've been pre-ordered, and I think a lot of the places where you're going to want to pick up your console, whether it be GameStop, Walmart, Target, wherever it is, it's probably not going to be there. For instance, today, I was just checking in on GameStop. I'm going to trade in my phone and get a console, which is something for a different video to talk about. But basically, I was just asking, hey, are you guys going to have any PS4s or Xbox Ones on release day? And they said most likely not. What they think they're going to get is exactly the pre-order amount. So if they had 20 pre-orders, that's what they're going to get. So if you don't pre-order a console and you haven't already, which I didn't, it may be hard to get a console. You may not see a PS4 or an Xbox One until 2 or 3 weeks after they've been announced. Or, after they've been released. So keep that in mind, even though it's a week earlier. If you can find it on shelves, that may be the deal breaker as well. Whichever one you see at the GameStop you're at, that may be the one you get just because it's there. But if it is something that you're interested in and you've already pre-ordered, the PS4 may be better for you just because it's a week earlier. For me personally, that's a big deal. If I can find the PS4 a week earlier, I'm going to get that because they are so close already. And, I think a week earlier is a pretty big deal, especially as a YouTuber, because you can start showing off those games and making videos for the console. So now that we have that release date out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about specs, just briefly going over each spec and telling you guys what my overall thought is on that. So the Xbox One is going to have a upgraded CPU. It was originally supposed to be a 1.6 gigahertz CPU, which was in line with the PS4. Now it's supposed to be a 1.75 gigahertz CPU. Is that a big deal to me? Absolutely not. I really don't think that 0.15 gigahertz is going to make any difference in the end. I don't think it's going to be the game changer for the consoles. I really don't think it's going to matter too much. And that's really with all the specs. I don't think it's going to be a landslide. If it's better, it's going to be marginal, and I don't think that's an area to worry about. But we'll continue on here. So the next thing is a weird one. The Xbox One supports up to 8 wireless controllers. Maybe there'll be a game that supports that, maybe not. On the flip side, the PS4 only supports 4 controllers. They used to support more on the PS3, but they are downgrading that a little. Why they would downgrade, I don't know. People probably just really didn't use that feature anyway. So the next thing is the RAM. It's going to have DDR3 RAM on the Xbox One and GDDR5 RAM on the PS4. That could be a thing that kind of is different. That's kind of the biggest thing, is the graphics should technically be better on the PS4. So if that's a big deal for you for whatever reason, then go with that. I really don't think it's going to make a difference, like I said. The next thing is hard drives. As far as hard drives go, the PS4 is a user replaceable hard drive, whereas the Xbox the Xbox One is not. So keep that in mind. They are both 500 gigabyte hard drives, but you can replace the PS4's hard drive if you wish to. That's pretty big for me because all these games that are going to be coming out, which we'll talk about, are going to be available day one as downloads, which is really cool, except for some games can be up to 50 gigabytes. So if you do the math, 50 times 10 is 500 gigabytes, not including any software on there. 10 games is pretty easy to get. I would want to be able to replace my hard drive with a 3 terabyte hard drive if I want to. Now, that's going to be doable on the PS4 if you'd like to, so keep that in mind. And as far as backwards compatibility, doesn't really exist. So you're not going to be able to get backwards compatible games. Although the PS4 has its streaming of backwards compatible games, that's not really coming out. Nothing really set for a release date, but they talked about it, so it could be a thing that's happening. But you know, I wouldn't buy the game or buy a console because of it. So keep that in mind. In the future, you may be able to stream backwards compatible games somehow through the Xbox or through the PS4, whereas Xbox doesn't really have anything for backwards compatibility. So if that's a big deal for you, could be a deal breaker. For me, not really a huge deal. The next thing is price. This is a pretty big factor for me because you're going to be paying 20% more for an Xbox 360, which is interesting, right? Because you're going to pay $400 for a Sony PS4. You're going to pay $500 for an Xbox One. So really what that breaks down into is you get a game and a half free out of the Sony console, whereas with the Xbox One, you're going to pay that extra money just for the console. The reason for that is because it comes with Kinect. Now, Kinect is going to cost you $100 more, basically. That's the way I'm looking at it. But if you really wanted the Kinect equivalent, you can get that with the PS4, and that's only going to cost you $60 with their little eye camera. So keep that in mind. Even if you bought an eye camera and a game, you'd be paying really the same amount for both consoles. So as far as price goes, PS4 definitely wins that category all around, and that's a pretty big deal for me because on release day I can walk in and say, hey, I want a PS4 and this game, and still be walking away with $40 in my pocket to go pick up a Big Mac and gaming food for that week that I spend in my room playing games instead of focusing on the work I need to get done. So keep that in mind. The $100 really is a pretty big difference. The next thing is what they come with. So the Xbox 360, like I said, is going to come with Kinect, whereas the PS4 is not going to come with Kinect. It's just going to come with these headphones that are basically your mic to talk with, and that's really it. It's not going to come with too much other than that. Obviously, they'll come with controllers, but nothing too big there. Now, as far as features, both consoles are now charging for their live services. Xbox always really has, and they're going to be $60 for a year of live, whereas PS4, a little bit cheaper once again, is only going to be $50. That $10 to me is not a huge deal, but once again, a little bit cheaper overall savings. You may be paying a little bit less for the PS4. Also, the PS4 is much smaller as far as features go. I think that's pretty big as well. If you don't have a lot of room or design's a big deal for you, it's a little smaller, not a huge aspect, but another brownie point as far as PS4 goes. Also, the power brick's included inside of the PS4, and it's not external. So I don't know how the PS4 is so much smaller, but it is. Also, feature-wise, they both have Blu-ray players, so no worries there. It's not going to be a PS4 exclusive like it could have been, but the PS4 and the Xbox One both are going to be having Blu-ray players. Next, we have launch titles, and this is kind of the next big thing, and one of the biggest things is really you're going to buy the console you're going to want to play the games for. So let's say you really want to play Drive Club, you're going to get the PS4 because it has Drive Club, right? So for me, I think Drive Club and Forza pretty comparable. I don't really think one's better than the other. Having said that, I haven't played either one, but based on what I've seen, they both look really comparable. Drive Club to me actually looks kind of cool because it's new, whereas Forza feels like it's the same old thing. So yeah, Drive Club and Forza are going to be kind of similar on both consoles. So if you're a racing guru, junkie, whatever, then that's going to be your fix on either console. So that shouldn't be really a big deciding factor unless you have a pre-planned idea. Next thing on the PS4, we have an exclusive, which is Killzone Shadowfall. That looks amazing graphically. It continues on with a story from Killzone 3, and for me, I haven't really played Killzone, so it doesn't really do much for me as far as story, so that's not really a deciding factor. And then we have Knack as well as an exclusive cartoon-based game. If you have small children and you're an adult buying this for maybe your kids to play, that could be something that is a deal breaker for you. For me, I'm not going to play Knack, I don't think, unless I'm making a funny video out of it. But yeah, that's there. And then on the Xbox 360, we have Dead Rising 3. Now, this is one of the things where I'm like, oh, PS4 so far in my mind, and I think probably for you as well, based on everything I've said, sounds better. And it really does to me. It sounds like a better deal. It's cheaper. It comes out earlier. The specs may be a little bit better, or really equivalent overall. So I'm leaning towards PS4 until we get to this exclusive, which is Dead Rising 3. It's basically an open world zombie game. It looks amazing. It really does. It looks like a fantastic game, and I'm kind of I really wish it was a dual platform game, but it is Xbox One exclusive. Also, we have Rise, Son of Rome, which looks pretty cool. You play as a Roman general, and you fight through wars, and you can control your army. It's big focused on quick time events, which is pretty cool. If that's your thing, then Xbox 360 may be for you. So exclusive wise, I think the exclusives may actually be better on the Xbox 360, but as far as that goes, I don't know if that's a deciding factor necessarily for me. Also, on both consoles, we're going to see Watch Dogs, Battlefield 4, COD Ghost, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Second Son, and Halo will be coming next year as well. But, yeah, Watch Dogs, that's going to be on both consoles. That's kind of my most anticipated game right now. So, yeah. That's what I have for you guys as far as all the features go and all the overview. So now let's go ahead and also talk about what the community is really saying, and as far as what most people I think are going to be doing. Because a big part of playing on either console is going to be who's playing and who you're playing with. Maybe, you know, what are your favorite YouTubers going to be getting? I think a lot of the YouTubers are going to probably get both. But if you're looking to play with more people and get a bigger diversity of people, I think the PS4 is going to be the place to go. And I think that's going to have more people purchasing the PS4. Based on the pre-order so far, we've seen a lot more pre-orders out of the PS4 as far as games go. Not only that, but I'm going to have a video in the description, a link where you guys can see. I forget who it was. I think it was Revision 3 was going around at PAX just asking people PS4 or Xbox. And I would say it was an 80% of the people, so like an 8 to 2. Or yeah, I guess that would be... I don't know what that ratio would be. 80% of the people were going with the PS4 side. So a lot of community is going to the PS4, and I think that's the place where people are going to go, and that's the place I think I'm going to go. So in summary, overall, guys, I think the PS4 is going to be the console of this generation, and I hate to say it because I really have loved my Xbox 360. I love Microsoft. I love what they've done, but I don't know that they're going to be the console of this generation. So with all of that said, I think I'm gonna go with the PS4. I really do, and right now that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's gonna be the place that I end up going to, and it'll be kind of something new for me. I think, you know, my time with the Xbox 360 was amazing. I would definitely not have chosen the PS3. It wasn't even close in my opinion. So yeah, that's that, and I think the PS4 is just going to be the console of this generation. So tell me what you guys are thinking in the comments below. Xbox One, PS4, what are you going to get, and what are your thoughts at this point? Thanks, guys, for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace, and here is the outro.